Those of you who are able to jump on, thank you. My name is Matt. I work here at First Pick. I work closely with Colin on the project. And up here, Kelly Baird, who is also at First Pick.
Hi, everyone.
All right, so let's just jump to it then. The things we're going to talk about today includes just a general overview of what an expo is and run one, best practices to run an expo. We're going to go over the specific steps to successfully complete the expo. I'm going to take you to the reporting site to show you where and what the questions are to complete the expo report. I'm going to go over the resources that I shared, and if you see any that you didn't receive or you didn't receive any of them, then that's for you to see, and then so you can reach me so I can get those to you. And then I'll open it up to questions at the end. Generally, an expo is meant to be fun. It's not supposed to be competitive and a community event. It's supposed to allow the youth to celebrate their success in the program with their coaches, the other youth, their families, and volunteers. Generally, it should be about 1 to 2 hours long, but this is really up to you. But you just need to be aware that if the event is too long, the kids may become tired and lose interest. But on the other hand, if you think that you can go longer than that and keep everyone's interest and keep everything interesting, then that's totally up to you how you want to go about doing that. I really want to emphasize that this is not a competition. It is a program and not a competition, and very careful measures have been taken to encourage the environment of cooperative learning and sharing rather than competition. It's meant to be highlighting the accomplishments of the youth who have participated in the program and give them a chance to show off what they've done, also to see what the other youth have accomplished as well. To allow them to share their personal experience with science and engineering topics, show what they learned as a member of a team, satisfaction of teaching others. So it's not just about the project itself, it's about giving a chance to get out there and show what they know and have a chance to be part of a team. So they showcase their Lego models, their Show Me posters, and the research they've done with other teams and reviewers. They're supposed to be engaging with family members and share what they have learned. At the end, they're supposed to participate in a closing ceremony with awards and a high five line. Touch up on all of those topics going forward. So mine for planning the expo, it can be laid out like this, but again, whatever works best for you is fine. But this is generally based upon practices. This seems to work well for a lot of sites. Between 1 and 2 months prior, that's when you want to select your time basically, and make sure you consider that works best for all the families, the coaches, and the youth, as well as making sure the venue is a good place for everyone to participate as well. I want to promote the expo, whether you do that by word of mouth or flyer or some sort of publication in the newspaper or anything, whatever works best for you. It depends on who you know, if you can get the word out. So if you can get the word out as much as you possibly can, just to maximize the people that the event is coming up. So 1 month prior, that's when you want to start recruiting volunteers to help in the expo day. So again, that can just be anyone who wants to help out. It can be people connected to the organization that you're working at. It can be parents even. So whoever wants to help out on the day of the expo, feel free to recruit them. And that is about the time you want to order the medals and the ribbons and all of that stuff for the closing ceremony. 1 month and 3 weeks prior, you want to make sure you have a clear schedule for the day. You want to decide on the extra activities for the youth and the families to participate in. purchase any other needed supplies. So you want to make sure just to kind of plan the general agenda so that you can develop what supplies you need going forward. So you're as prepared as you possibly can be for the day of the expo. So in a week and 1 day prior, you want to get your reviewers together to have a meeting to make sure that they know what is expected of them going into the expo. And 1 to 2 hours prior or the night before, depending on the time of day that you choose to hold expo, that's when you want to set up. So over the step-by-step. So step 1, so you want to select your date and your venue. You want to check with the youth and their families on their availability and try to select a date that works best for as many people as possible. Of course, you want to have a great turnout, so you want to make sure that it's a day and a time where, you know, people aren't working or they don't already have prior commitments. So whatever makes sense for you to get people involved and knowing that it's happening on a certain date and time, the sooner the better. You want to especially ensure that the coaches are available to make sure that they're there to support the youth. And again, you want to encourage the families to attend, sending invitations, reminders, flyers, publications, anything that is suitable for what you can do. So you want to start working on the agenda. You don't necessarily have to follow this time frame, but the order of the activities or the frame of the expo, this is proven to be actually to use going for a lot of previous sites. So first, when you obviously want to have the teams get ready and set up. After that, you want to open it up to the welcome and the announcements. So get everyone together to just announce what's going on in the day. You know, tell them where the bathrooms are. Tell them anything that whatever's available. Everything that you think they might need to know going into the expo. The teams to be ready to display. And then you want to have the reviewers ready and have additional activities going. So obviously, if you have a lot of kids, they're not going to be able to, you have to set up a schedule for them to rotate through to go to the reviewers. You want to make sure they're all ready to go, and you want to have other activities ready for them for the amount of time they have to wait either before or after meeting with the reviewers. Wraps up, this is optional. But it's a way to save a lot of time and keep the youth involved, have them help clean up their projects and help clean up the venue as much as possible, whatever makes sense, and then it saves you a whole lot of time at the end. And then you want to open it up to the closing ceremony, so you want to recognize all the youth for their projects, and then you want to wrap it up with the high five line, and clean up. What I've learned, especially coming from a experience, that cleanup is just as much part of an event as anything else. So this is really important to consider when you're making the agenda.
Yeah, I figured that out.
Before I move forward, if I could just ask if your phone is not on mute, if you could please go ahead and mute it.
Well, we're going to work on it.
So, moving on. So, step 3 is to promote the expo. If you follow similar steps as recruiting youth for promoting the expo, generally that works. It's really up to you what the best method is to recruit people to go to the expo. But again, just handing out promotional flyers, hanging posters around your building, inviting members of the local media to attend. Thing to get the word out there. So 4 would be to recruit volunteers. So of course you need the reviewers. So you'll need about 2 reviewers per 6 teams. Reviewers visit with teams, to show me posters and the Lego models. They ask teams questions about their experience, provide positive feedback, and sign the awards. So everyone should be receiving an award. C, this is, again, if this makes sense for you to have, then it's highly encouraged. This is an announcer for the day, so it could be the person who does the welcoming and just kind of announces the general proceedings of the day. Possible if you want to secure technical support from staff at the Expo site with any technical needs. Also highly recommended. I just want to reiterate, because I'm getting some echo back, if you can just please mute your phones, I would greatly appreciate it. And then an option for volunteers at your expo is activity supervisors. So it's pretty straightforward. Just they supervise the activities for youth, siblings, and other children who are at the event. So those activities that are happening to keep the kids busy while they're waiting to present to the reviewers. As best you can to engage the family members and ask if any are able to participate in any of these roles. So I said the volunteers don't just need to be limited to, outside people. If you can get family members to volunteer to do any of these roles or any other role that you think is appropriate, then go ahead and do that. To plan the activities. So you can decide if you'll provide additional activities for youth and families. So it's not required, but again, it is highly recommended because kids being kids, they get distracted and bored and then the other thing. So it's good to have extra activities available, and it just kind of brings up the general positive feeling of your expo. Lose interest if they don't have something else to do. And just make sure you consider the supplies that you'll need for each activity and who will supervise them. Ideas that you can use for additional activities, arts and crafts, just free Lego building, face painting, drawing about the challenge theme, puzzles, anything that, you think kids might enjoy doing while they're waiting, highly recommend. Just an extra point in between the steps. So family engagement is a really important part of the expo, because if the families are there participating in these activities together, then it just makes it all that much better. And again, if you get them to fill volunteer roles, but just sure that you have enough space and seating for families, because it gets pretty cumbersome if you don't have the proper space for the amount of people that actually show up. You need to gather the supplies. So every youth on the FLL junior team must leave the expo with something, whether a participation certificate, a ribbon, medal, pin, whatever you decide you want to give out to the kids. So create your own award, so you can put your own organizational logos and make it really unique to your site, whatever makes the most, whatever you prefer to do. Make sure that you have all the necessary items for the activities beforehand, and consider staging items in an venue to expedite the setup. So 7 will be to hold a meeting for the reviewers. So this is totally necessary because you just want to make sure that the reviewers know what is required of them and what is expected of them. Important to convey the look and feel of the expo, so make sure that they know exactly what you're kind of picturing in your head, how the expo is supposed to play out. And then pick a day time for all the reviewers to participate in the meeting. So again, you just want to, the logistics, coordinate a time that works well for everyone. And like I said, just make sure that they understand what is expected. So we'll walk around the expo visiting teams and asking questions about their research. And this is a really good way to engage the family members. The reviewer is going to provide just a lot of positive feedback to the teams, because then the kids worked really hard on these projects and they're young. So just giving that positive reinforcement for all the things that they did that were great, and not necessarily judging them, and point out the things that could be better. And so into the teams and show interest in their project. So they're really invested and they're really paying attention and engaged with the kids when the kids are presenting their projects. And then the helpful thing would be to write down notes for each team to help with awards later, because as in one of the resources that was shared, there's a whole range of awards that you can give out. So again, it can be unique to whatever you want to do, but there are options in that resource there, and you want to make sure all the kids kind of feel special and unique with they were able to accomplish. And then make sure that the reviewers are part of the high five line at the closing ceremony. Step 8 is to set up the venue. So think about space, if there will be seating for guests, where the activities are going to happen. So just make sure you have these kind of designated areas for these specific activities. So you have it laid out where the reviewing is going to happen, if you have enough space for family and friends to watch. And each team gets its own table and space to have their supplies and their projects set up. Keep in mind if you need access to power cords or any other technical needs. And if you have one or more rolling media carts to help transport their poster or model to the room with the reviewers so that the model doesn't break along the way, that's another thing that is generally recommended, depending on if you have a designated space for the reviewers or if the reviewers are going to be walking around to the tables. There's just all these different things that you want to consider. And again, it's going to vary with size. 9, the day of the expo, so make sure you have a clear schedule and find a way to communicate it with everyone involved. As I said before, you can consider a separate space for the reviewers because noise level can be a factor, but it's not required. Give each reviewer a copy of the reviewer questions, which was provided in the resource email. Ensure that the reviewer has met with every team because obviously you don't want to leave anyone out. And make sure every youth receives an award, certificate, pin, or medal, as I said before. Everyone should be going home with something. As I touched on this before, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but the welcome announcements, generally just welcome the families, tell them where everything is, snacks, bathrooms, give them a layout of the day, and then congratulate everyone and energize the crowd just to get everything moving for the expo. Closing ceremony, so this is required, and as I said, awards are required as part of the ceremony. Guest speakers are optional, but it's definitely an extra touch and that can enhance the expo. Awards, like I said, everyone wins. I'm not going to spend much time on this because I've already gone over it, but you can refer to the resource that I provided for ideas, but make this your, and like I said, everyone should be going home with something. And this is exactly what it sounds like. So all the adults, so the reviewers, the coaches, parents, if they're willing, should be lining up and giving all the kids a high five to send them off from this program year. So the kids will parade up to receive their award. They go through a high five line consisting of the reviewers, volunteer staff, and coaches before returning to their seats. So that you don't forget, so the things that you must have are the reviewers to meet with each team, a closing ceremony, the awards for everyone, and the high five line. So if nothing else, all of these things are what are required to happen at the expo. Hopefully you all of your resources for in March, but the resources that I share with you include the checklist, the full schedule, the planning and expo resource, adjusted team activities, the sample reviewer questions, and the standard awards list. So if any of you have not received any of those, please reach out to me via email or phone, whatever works best for you, and I'll get those to you as soon as I can. now, switch gears a little bit, and I'm going to show you, I'm sure a number of you have seen a brand new tab in the reporting site. So I'll just go over that quickly with you to show you where it is and go over the questions with you real quick. So when it comes time to do that, you'll be ready to go. Give me for one moment, and I will. So look here, and you select the Reports tab. This is the Expo report. This may change going forward as we work on the development of the site, but as it stands now, the Expo report is pretty straightforward. Questions are, when did you host your Expo? So you just select your date and time, just the date rather, sorry. When you host Expo, where you hosted it, indicate how many youth participated, and if not all of the youth who are part of the program were able to participate, I ask that you please explain that in this box right here. Next question is, did all of your coaches participate in the Expo? Yes or no? And then if not all of them did, again, we ask you to explain that here in this. If you recruited any volunteers to assist, you just say yes or no here. If you did, just know how many you were able to recruit. Next box here is just what steps did you take to promote your Expo? So just tell us what you did to promote it, whether it was a flyer, word of mouth, if you got a little blurb on the local radio, something, whatever you were able to do, and however you got the word out for the Expo. This is where you would tell us about that. Here, this is where you about what went really well with your Expo. So just tell some general highlights or accomplishments or anything you wanted to share that was really positive with your Expo. Just make sure that you include details such as, every kid went home with awards. Make sure you in here that you completed all of the required portions of the Expo. The high five line, the awards, the reviewers meeting, etc. Here, if you could please share with us any problems or barriers that you encountered during your Expo. Especially if any part of the required portion of the Expo were not able to be completed successfully, this is where you would share that with us. One, do you have any innovative accomplishments regarding the implementation of your Expo that you would like to share with first? So anything that you did that is really unique to your site that other people may or may not have done, we can use to share with the rest of the sites as kind of best practices for them. This is where we would ask you share that. For the photos of the Expo, you select upload attachment. You can type the file name or you can just choose the file. So I will just select test. You can be here and then it's as easy as that. Once you are done, you select save and then it's there. Eventually, once you hit save, it'll be we'll be able to see it on our end on our portal. So make sure when you select save that it's as accurate as it can be. So let's switch back to the. So that is all I have about the Expo and about the Expo report. So now I'd open it up for any questions if you want to put them into the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and ask me. So it's up to you all. A couple minutes or so. And anyone who has a question, just feel free to ask.
Manny from South Florida. wondering. We were wondering and hoping that this webinar is going to be on the website so that we can share with our crew.
This has been recorded, and we're going to share it.
There's a link under the Help tab in the online reporting site.
Later this week, I will email you the recording directly, but it will also be on the reporting site, as Kelly said. So I'll give another 30 seconds or so for questions, and not then we can. Thing. So at any point, it's not myself that you can refer to, because as you hear, we have Dontre Peters and Elise Sufert are also working on this project. So at any point, if you have any questions for them, you can email them, and if it's something that they don't feel like they can answer, they'll refer it to me. And if I feel like I can't answer it, then I can refer it to Colin. So reach out to any of us at any time if you have questions. So with that, I think that we will wrap it up. So I will send this recording out. I will send out this week. So if you want to share it with any of your colleagues that you're working with, then feel free to do that. Otherwise, thank you all for participating, and I will be reaching out to you soon.